Welcome to episode number 17 of From the Bunker. Guys, we've got an incredible guest for you today. As always, we want to give a big shout out to Ryan, the professional caddy from the Corn Ferry Tour, coming on last week. That was an incredible episode. Heard a lot of great stories, had a lot of fun. We appreciate all the support on that episode. And this week, we've got another banger for you. We'll get into that soon. We've got Craig here for the first time on an intro. Everybody, one clap for Craig joining the team. Craig, aka Breaking 80 Golf, is now the official co-host of From the Bunker. Craig, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me, big dog.
Yes, sir. And he's going to be on regularly with us now. He is the official co-host. He does have a lot of shit going on, so he might miss something, but don't worry. He's here for the long term. Craig, tell him a little bit about you. I mean, you're a decent golfer. You're like a 5 handicap, probably, maybe less, maybe more. I don't know, somewhere around that ballpark. Family man, great guy. I mean, just tell us a little bit about your golf game and tell us a little bit about you, what you do for content, whatever. We've been putting all your stuff down in the bio so y'all can go check him out, but give us a little bitty rundown anyways.
Little rundown with me is I am married. I have 2 twin girls who are 6. I got a little boy who is almost 2. So saying I'm busy is a understatement. And then on top of that, I coach high school and middle school baseball. So when I'm trying to do my golf game, I do Breaking 80 Golf on all socials. I create little short clips to help people do little tips for the average mid to high handicap guy, just trying to give tips, not from a professional standpoint, but just for the average Joe of, I'm not going to have the perfect swing. So I try to do my swing that works best for me. So I try to do content that way, make it more relatable to the average Joe, the high to mid to high handicap guys. And then my handicap right now is a 4.6, I believe it is. So I'm not bad. I'm always right around 80. That's kind of where I'm always at. But the other day I shot the round of my life. It was early January and I busted out a 70. So I almost got to that 60 range. When I say the putter was hot, it was hot. So, but that's kind of a little bit of lowdown on my content. Nothing crazy. Just try to give a little tidbit on how to lower your scores just for the average guy. That's what I try to do.
Yeah, if y'all haven't checked him out yet, make sure to go check him out. Give him a follow, give him a hug, give him a high five. All of his socials will be down in the description below, along with From the Bunker and along with mine. I know me, the From the Bunker family, if you will, we're excited to bring Craig on. We had talked about him a lot on the podcast. If you've listened, he's been mentioned in damn near every episode. So when we needed a new co-host, it was only fitting. And I can't wait to see where this goes over the next however long we're doing this, which I hope is a long time. Speaking of not being a pro golfer, we've been watching some pro golfers out at Pebble Beach at the PGA, Pebble Beach Pro-Am, the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, if I may. Currently, we got Sam Burns and Colin Morikawa tied at the top of the leaderboard at 20 under, with Akshay and Scotty not too far behind at 18 under. Talk about some crazy wind, Craig. I know you've been watching it a little bit. I watched it as much as I can. I mean, what were you seeing out there with this wind the last couple of days? I mean, they've been hitting some crazy shots, huh?
Oh, 100%. I was watching round 3, which was yesterday. And going into, I believe it was holes 15 and 16, the wind picked up to, I think they said it was gusting to like 40 mile an hour. And they were saying that certain shots were changing 22 to 28 feet or yards. So if you're hitting your 7-iron, let's say for the pros, probably 180 to 190, depending on the certain wind, it was carrying another 22 yards, 22 to 28 yards, which is insane. And we played at Crosswinds the other day and the wind was blowing about 30 to 35 and it was knocking our ball. I mean, I was hitting, I think a 6-iron, like 130 yards. So to see them playing at a professional level and them hitting a ball that they're literally hitting it over the ocean to carry onto the green, it just makes it more realistic to where like we think we should be good and they're playing at a high end event and they're not making it look easy either. So it brings it back a little bit for the average golfer, I guess you can say, that playing in the wind, it's a lot tougher than it looks.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. It's been a crazy event to watch with the win the way that it's been, but it's been fun to watch, and we got some good names atop the leaderboard, a lot of great people competing. If you want to look stylish out on the golf course, I want to talk to you guys about none other than Four Golf Apparel, and I'm rocking it today. I've got the Four Golf hat on, the Four Golf Birdie polo on. That's absolutely amazing. But if you guys want top tier quality gear that for a quality price that won't break the bank, look no further than 4golfapparel.com. If you use code from the bunker, all one word at checkout, you've got you raised up to 15% off. So it went from 10 up to 15. They've got some new stuff coming out, guys, here in the next few months that's going to be absolutely epic, but they have a lot of sales going on right now, and the 15% works on top of the sale price. So head over to 4golfapparel.com, use code from the bunker, and start looking stylish and standing out on the golf course. Speaking of stylish and standing out, man, Charlie Hull, I'm a huge fan of her. She went over to the Ladies European Tour and absolutely dominated. Shot a 65 on the final day to win that event. I mean, we have a lady golfer on today that was absolutely incredible in her career. Isn't it? I mean, just amazing how far ladies golf has came.
Oh, 100%. If you go to well, there's a course near my house, and I feel like the high school game, middle school game, all that stuff is involved where it's not just the boys or the men playing. You're going to get just as many girls out there. So shout out to them for building up the lady side of the golf, which I still feel like they need to be in that TGL. So we need more ladies. Even though they may not hit it as far, they are just as good. You can go watch any YouTube video with one of my favorites is Grant Horvat and Nelly Corda. She dominates him. So in my opinion, the lady side, and they look a lot better than the men. No offense, but I'd much rather watch them than the men. So I am a big fan of Charlie Hull.
Absolutely.
She's phenomenal.
Yes, she is. Her and a bunch of other ones. And man, it's crazy to me. I got this advice one time from a teaching pro. He was like, if you really want to get better at golf and want to study the golf swing, go watch a female hit the golf ball. Go watch the LPGA girls. Go watch the way they swing a golf club, because they are 100% dedicated to mechanics and the perfect golf swing. So it's a pretty cool deal. A shout out to all the ladies that play. Shout out to Charlie Hull for getting a big win on the European Tour. It's been a fun week of golf as we get more into the season, just a couple weeks away. I mean, like maybe 5-6 weeks away from the Masters. So I'm getting pretty damn excited. We're getting into full swing here. Had the Waste Management last week. Chris got her up winning. That was absolutely epic. And then this week with the Pro-Am, I mean, we're getting in full swing here. So going to be fun. TGL coming up on Monday night. This episode won't be out till Tuesday, so we'll touch on the TGL again next week. But guys, today we have on a absolute legend in college golf. We have on none other than Catie Craig. Can't wait for y'all to hear this interview. She's absolute delight. It was amazing to talk to her. Her story is incredible, from what she did in college to what she's doing now, designing golf courses. It is a great listen and a great story. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. What's up, guys? If you're local to Kentucky / Middle Tennessee, I want you guys to check out Swing City Golf in Bowling Green, Kentucky. This place has TrackMan technology, which is absolutely epic. If you take your game serious and want to work on improving your game, you need to be at this facility. Not only do they have the best technology with the TrackMans, they have amazing food and amazing drink. They've got a full bar. They've got all your bourbons, whiskeys, vodkas, beers. They've got amazing food from flatbreads, hot dogs, sandwiches, sliders, apps, whatever you want, they've got it. And the best technology and the best way to improve your game right here in Bowling Green, Kentucky at Swing City Golf. Tell them from the bunker sent you. Go see them at Swing City Golf. We've got a special guest for you today. Today's guest has one of the most uniquest resumes we've had on the show so far. She didn't just have a good college career. She rewrote the record books at Western Kentucky in Bowling Green with school record scoring averages, multiple wins, conference championship, scholar athlete of the year, and then turned professional and has been or has been competing on tour. We're going to talk about that. But what makes her story really interesting is she didn't stop and playing the golf courses. She now helps design the golf courses. So today we're talking about the journey from junior golf to college dominance to professional golf, and now designing the courses that we all struggle on. Catie Craig, welcome to From the Bunker. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for coming on. We're going to get right into it, get to know you a little bit. I mean, right now in your life, is golf more of a job, a passion, something you do for fun? Where's your golf journey at right now?
It's kind of all three right now. So it is my job now that I design golf courses. It was my job in college. It was my job when I played professionally, and I still will play in professional events, just not as much. And then, of course, it's always for fun.
Absolutely. I love that. When you go to the course alone, are you still keeping score? You just hitting shots? You just having fun? What are you doing when you go play around by yourself these days?
I mean, I usually have always played alone just because where I live, we don't have a lot of junior golfers or people my age to play with. I actually played yesterday. I walked some 9 holes in the evening after work. I'll play straight up. I had like 3 birdies, but then I'll throw an extra ball here or there if I'm waiting on the group in front of me. So depends on the day. I'll play with my dad. I'll play with my friends.
That's awesome. Love that you're still out there getting after it. What kind of golfer were you as a kid? Obsessed, grinder, or just naturally good, or you didn't know yet?
I mean, I don't know a life without golf. My parents threw me on the golf course when I was 2. So, like, ever since I could walk, they just stuck a hand in my club in my hand and turned out to be lefty, which I'm the only lefty in my family. I mean, growing up, it was mainly just for fun. They'd let us play until we got tired. I mean, I'd be on the driving range making pictures out of the golf balls instead of hitting them sometimes, and then played in first tee events, those little 6-hole tournaments. It was kind of a mix of obsession and then honestly not knowing what else to do because I lived on a golf course.
That's awesome. It's something about y'all lefties. Every lefty I run into
Mhm.
is just pretty damn good at golf. You know?
Swing looks way better as a lefty.
It does? Interesting, interesting. I always see when I see lefties play, I'm like, "Gosh, we look weird."
How did golf first enter your life? Was it family influence or was it just a random introduction?
Like I said, it was family influence, so my mom and dad both played. They actually met on the high school boys team. My mom played on the men's team in high school. They didn't play in college, but it's just been a part of their entire lives. And then I lived in Florida growing up, and we are just on the back of a public golf course, nothing fancy. So, I mean, you just go out your back door and hit golf balls.
That's nice. I wish I could do that on mine. I live close enough I could do it, but I got some trees in the backyard to kind of mess that up. But what is the earliest moment you remember realizing that you might be better than other kids your age?
Ooh, I mean, the time that always sticks out is in Pensacola during the first tee of Northwest Florida. Bubba Watson actually came out and did a clinic with us because he was from Baghdad, Florida. So I've known him when he was on the web.com, like before he made PGA Tour and all that. And he let me hit a tee shot and I striped it being like one of the only lefties. And he was like, "Can I adopt you?" Probably as a joke, but I was like, "Look at that, I'm pretty good at this." And I remember, like, holing out on some pitch shot for a challenge. I was like, "Okay, maybe I'm pretty good." Yeah, he's always been one of my favorite golfers just because of the memories.
He still uses the pink golf ball. He's all about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The pink shaft, pink
Yeah,
driver, everything pink. I
everything
love it.
pink.
Were you competitive in all and just golf, or were you competitive in everything that you did?
I will say, honestly, even now, I'm not the biggest competitive person, which is probably a bad thing. I think it's from the lack of playing team sports growing up. I think if you play on like softball or soccer, you have to be competitive because you're playing with your team. And if you're not a competitor, you can't play. I played tennis when I was younger too. I didn't really like it, so I just kind of did solely golf. I mean, playing with my sister, I'm really competitive, but if she beats me or somebody else beats me, it's never really bothered me or ruined my day. I just go on with my day.
Say me and Josh try to tie our shoes and race, and if he beats me, it's the end of the day for me.
Yeah.
I'm that competitive. Did you ever go through a phase where you just didn't like golf?
Plenty of times. Oh my gosh. So many years, like in high school or whenever, when, you're going through swing changes, you're getting taller, getting stronger, and you just can't hit the ball. You can't commit to hitting the shot. There's so many times I just wanted to quit. I was like, this isn't worth it. This isn't worth it. Like, I hate having to go practice, but then I realized, like, it's gonna be worth it for the future. Again, I don't know a life without it. I mean, what else would I do? So I just stuck it out, grinded it out, and got through it, thankfully. That even happened in college my freshman year. I mean, had a really hard time my freshman year. And obviously there's no choice to quit. I mean, I guess anybody can quit in anything, but I was like, "Oh, I ain't quitting," but definitely had times when I wanted to.
Yeah, anytime I take a swing on a golf course, I want to quit.
Amen to
I feel
that.
like that.
You know what I
Until you
mean?
birdie the last hole and then you have to go back.
100%. Yeah. What junior tournament lost changed you the most as a golfer?
Junior? I remember in like 2020 when I had another like bad spell of playing. I wasn't like a elite junior golfer. I'd always take like I wouldn't really win them. I'd do good in like top 5 or whatever. But I remember in 2020 I was like I think a senior in high school or so, and I was playing with like 13, 14-year-olds and they all beat me. And I was like, this is embarrassing. Like, I'm about to go into college and it's these little kids out driving me, beating me by a few strokes. So that was pretty humbling. I was like, wow, this next generation's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And that they are. I mean, I've played with a lot of the kids here that are in high school, and it blows my mind. I'm 30 years old, about to be 31. It's like
Mhm.
these kids are out driving me, out everything in me, and then they're never satisfied. I've brought it up many times on the podcast, but we've got one kid here in Franklin, Kentucky, that he is going to be the next Tiger, man. He'll hit a
Yeah.
205-yard 7-iron to 13 feet or I'm sorry, 3 feet, and be pissed about it because the ball didn't spin the way he thought he wanted it to spin, and
Yeah.
drop another ball. And I'm thinking, man, I'd give, my left pinky finger to be able to hit that shot on command, so it's different. And it is impressive. You mentioned college, struggling your freshman year, going to Western Kentucky. Let's talk about that a little bit. What made you choose good old Western?
Yeah, this sounds embarrassing. I had no idea about Western Kentucky. I'm not a big sports watcher. Like, even though I play golf, I don't watch a lot of golf or I don't watch like a lot of basketball or baseball. I have more after going through college and being able to watch them in person. I was like, oh, I like this. But I had never really heard of Western Kentucky. And I had a couple offers and a couple upcoming recruiting visits, and Adam was one of the last people to contact me. And I was like, I'll give it a shot. I don't know anything's great. I'm privileged to go see any place. And I visited and I fell in love with it. I loved Adam, everything about him, his character and his personality, and then everything that Western had to offer. That year I went was when our indoor facility was just built, so I was like, "Ooh, that's really cool." And then the courses we had, like Old Stone, Indian Hills, Bowling Green, so we have a variety of courses. And then the biggest thing was they offered my major in horticulture and agronomy. So the other schools I was looking at didn't even offer it. So I was like, I even go there. So it was kind of best of both worlds with academics and athletics.
That's awesome. I've heard nothing but good things about Western as a university. Growing up near here, I've had a lot of family that's went there and things like that. Heard nothing but great things about it. And then I had the pleasure of having Coach Gary on. And it's kind of where
Yes,
I found out about you, where I found out about players like Sydney Hackett, that are there now, kind of following in your footsteps, if you will. And he seems like a great guy. Anytime I've reached out to him since then, he answered, he gave me a cell phone number. Like, he's awesome.
yeah,
So I'm glad that you brought that up. I haven't had the pleasure to meet him yet, but he just seems like a guy of great character and somebody that loves the game and is really, really good at it too.
for sure. Yes, he was probably one of the best coaches in the industry. Everything about him very supportive in the tough times and in the high times.
That's awesome. When you first stepped onto campus, how different was college golf than you might have imagined?
But it's crazy different because it's the first time in my life I ever played team golf. golf is so individual. It's lonely at sometimes. I've always played alone or myself in tournaments. You're competing against everybody, whereas in college golf, you have four teammates behind you that you can feed off of each other. And I think that really increased my competitiveness when I'm on a team. I know, like, I'm here to represent my team, my coach, myself, and the university. So there's a lot, not that it was a lot of pressure, but it was something that I had a privilege to do. So I really wanted to do my best and not let anybody down.
That's an amazing answer. I love that. What part of college golf shocked you the most? Was it the travel, the practice, the pressure, the grind? What was the most surprising part of college golf?
Honestly, qualifying. Qualifying is more scary than the tournament itself because, well, one, you have to compete against your best friends, and you do it on the weekends, so you have no days off ever. I mean, we get like Wednesday off, but I'd always be practicing. The practice was what I expected. I love to practice, so that wasn't a big deal. The traveling, I personally love to travel. I mean, my most favorite part was getting on that van, and that's why qualifying was the scariest thing because it's like, oh, I just want to get on that van. I want to go travel. I want to go play new courses and compete. So I'd say having to wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday when other athletes or other students are just relaxing and we're out there grinding when it's 35 degrees out just to try and beat your teammate by one stroke. And then that round counts for in 2 weeks it's just a lot. It's 5 consecutive rounds. Can't mess up.
Yeah, that's a grind. And when you talk about qualifying, you're talking about rounds that you play to find out who is selected to represent for the team in the big tournaments, right?
Yes, yes. So qualifying is to set the lineup for the upcoming tournament.
Yep. So you're competing against your teammates. So that's a whole different aspect of it. I'm sure there's thoughts in your head like, if I beat her, she's going to be upset with me, that sort of thing or whatever. I know that's what I
Yeah.
would be thinking, especially if I'm close with the person that's right behind me. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's something that's kind of hard to adapt to. You had mentioned about struggling as a freshman. When you were a freshman, what was the moment or what kind of happened that was like, okay, I do belong here. I'm supposed to be here competing with these other girls.
I think that mainly happened after I realized I didn't go to conference. I remember sitting in the office with Adam Gary, like just kind of broken down, like I mean, golf in college shows your limiting factors, and I realized how big of a problem my mental game was. So that really came through in college, which I had never even thought about my whole life. So I just told Adam, like, I'm going to get this fixed. I'm going to do everything I can to get better. I'm never going to quit. I'm just going to be patient about it. And I was going through swing changes. I mean, I was still growing in college. I got taller. I mean, they put us in the weight room, so I was getting stronger. My clubs are too weak, so it's just a combination of everything. Just kind of I call my freshman year like a trial, so I saw what I needed to work on for sophomore year and um I got it done.
Yes, you did.
So you went from barely making it into the lineup early on to a conference champion and a record holder.
Yes.
What actually changed? Was it your swing, your confidence, or your preparation?
It was everything. Realizing the bare minimum will not get you anywhere. Not that I did the bare minimum, but I realized the bare minimum in college is like the highest standard for some people and for some other colleges. And then near the end of fall season of my sophomore year, I really got my swing down. My coach, Mike, he lives where I live. Something just clicked. He taught me something. I was like, okay, that really clicked. And then I went to a sports psychologist named Dr. Mo. He does so many pros like Keegan Bradley and Davis Thompson, all of them down in Sea Island. So I went to him and he transformed the way I even ever thought about golf. I was like, gosh, like there's so much about golf I didn't even know. So he taught me like a really rigid routine and a mental routine and how golf is like 80% mental. And if you don't work on it, like you work on your wedges or your tee shots, you're just never going to get better. So that was really what helped me improve tremendously.
That's awesome. When did you start expecting to win instead of hoping to play well?
Definitely my junior year. Before my junior year, I got 2 titles. So I won 2 events. And then going into my junior year, I was definitely at my peak that I never finished outside the top 10, so I was constantly getting third, second, third, fourth. And I got 2 wins, including I shot my own record 3 days in a row. So that was really when I was on such a hot streak. I was like I'm coming to every tournament planning to win. And if I don't, then I have to worry about my like world ranking. So a lot of that was my driving force to really go out and try and win, because the world ranking is what you got into really big amateur events outside of college. So there's like 2 goals going on.
Was there a specific round where you realized I'm one of the best players here at WKU?
Oh, yes, definitely at our home event my junior year in the spring. It was at Lake Chavita, and it was a 36-hole day, and this was my first round. I had 1 bogey on the 4th hole, and then from there, I hit like a flow state. I don't know what happened to me, but I went on to shoot a 63, and I went like eagle and then birdie, and I was just going from tee to green, like green to tee, green to tee. I wasn't talking to anybody. I didn't want Adam around. I was like, I'm in my own world right now. Like, this is the best I've ever played in my entire life. And then, because it was 36 holes, we would play the same round again, and I shot a 67. So I went 63, 67 in one day. So that was really, really cool to do. I felt this weird, it's like a weird connection with the course. It's like every putt you saw, you just knew the line and knew the speed, and you just walk them all in. It was so weird. I wish I could get that feeling back.
All that in the zone is what it is.
Oh, yeah. Very in the zone.
Yeah, me and Craig just wish we could find that feeling once, you know.
Yeah.
But that is absolutely awesome.
What tee box do y'all play from?
We play like the blue tees.
Blue
So
tee, okay.
in mid-major college, it ranges from like 61 to, I think the longest we ever played was like 66.
Okay,
So
I
if
got
you
you.
play in like power core tournaments, you're gonna play more like 65, 66. But I'd say average like 63.
And if you add those 2 scores together, that's probably what I shoot on like 9 in one day.
Yeah.
All right. So once you became the player that everybody was chasing, once you became that really elite player, you would think, most girls were like, Catie Craig's the one to beat. You talked about the mental side of your game. How did you handle that mentally? Like, how much pressure was that put on you, or any at all?
Yeah, it didn't really bother me. I've always seen myself as the underdog. Even if I was playing so good, I'd still go into the tournament thinking like, there's people better than me out here and I need to beat them. I never really saw myself or thought about myself as being like one of the best there. And then of course I've always had like the idea of playing for like an audience of one. Like, I'm not playing for anybody else except for like God. So just things like that, reminding myself on the course, like just one shot at a time. Like, I could shoot my record and still lose to somebody. It never really bothered me. I do remember a lot of people like asking during the rounds, like, "Oh, you're playing so good. Like, why are you staying at Western? Like, you should transfer to somewhere better." And I'm like, "What do you mean better? This is the best. Like, I have a great coach. I have a great team. I
Mhm.
have a great school. Like, what more could you ask for?" So I did have to deal with a lot of questions like that.
What part of your game carried you in college? Was it ball striking, wedges, putting, mindset? What really carried your game?
On top of mindset, I would say course management. My mom taught me that growing up, so going to college is definitely my strength, because regardless of how you're performing or how you're shooting, as long as you can meander through a course in the least amount of strokes possible and like making sure you don't get a double. Honestly, just keeping out the high scores, doubles or above, is how I really persevered in tournaments, especially 36-hole days. I wasn't always the best iron striker, but I would say my short game was also really, really solid.
Yeah, that 100 yards in for me is where I've got to work on, and definitely avoiding them doubles.
Yes, yes.
I love a good double bogey. I get a lot
Mhm.
of them. 6 is my lucky number on the golf course. Just write me down for a 6. But no, that's awesome. Yeah, short game will carry you. And you mentioned course management, like mindset, course management, and short game can make a crazy good golfer, as you proved. How difficult was it balancing the academics? And clearly, you went to college for something insane, because I couldn't even repeat what you said it was called. But I'm assuming it has to do with designing courses, right?
Somewhat. So it's in the agriculture department. So horticulture was honestly a lot of like manual labor. They'd stick us out on the farm and we'd build like high tunnels and we grew all the food for campus. Whereas agronomy was they'd stick us in a 6-foot deep hole and we'd have to like name the horizons of soil. And there's a lot of chemistry, so much to learn in dirt. So I learned dirt and grass essentially for college. I learned how to build a golf course, or I could run a whole farm at this point. But like managing that and golf at the same time was a lot of work, especially in those like classes you have to do like chemistry or economics, those that I didn't really care about, but you had to do. Those teachers weren't too lenient when it came to missing school to go to tournaments. Whereas my other professors, like my turf grass professor, I mean, they would cheer me on as I'm skipping school to go play golf because they all play golf, and I'm one of the few athletes in agriculture, so they're always like my biggest fan, or they'd cut out the little newspaper and hand it to me during class. So I was very lucky to have supportive professors. So in terms of missing school, it wasn't too bad, but having to sit in the van and do a bunch of assignments wasn't the most fun. It's grueling sitting in a van, looking at your computer, studying, and then you get back from like Oklahoma and then you have to take an exam the next day and you've missed 6 days, so you don't know what half the stuff is about. So it's a grind for sure.
Yeah, I bet. I couldn't imagine. I didn't go to college, clearly, but I couldn't imagine having to juggle that as an athlete. What was the most pressure that you ever felt in college?
Every tournament had so much pressure. It had to be that year I won conference, because this was like my first year, I gotta go show out. And it was at the PGA National course. If you don't know that course, they host a tour event there, and the last 4 holes is called like the bear trap, and it's like apparently the hardest stretch of holes you could possibly play. And I remember chucking one in the water. I was playing with the current leader, so it was down to us two to win conference. And I hit one in the water on par three. What is it, 15? I'm like, oh no! So I doubled it, and then so I was down. And then on the next hole, I sunk a 40-foot putt for birdie. So then we were back to tied. And then the next hole, it's another par three with water, and I actually played it super safe because I was so nervous. I've never felt so much pressure. I was like, this is it. And I didn't know exactly where I was because I'm not a big leaderboard watcher. So I played it safe and my opponent hit in the water. So on that hole we swapped. So I was up by 1 and I was like, okay, all I have to do is par the last hole. No big deal, right? And it's a par 5. And Adam taught me this shortcut. You can cut the corner on a par 5 and only have an 8-iron in. So I did that. Of course, I didn't even hit the green with my 8-iron. I like pushed in the trap and I had to make a 5-footer to win. And I've never been so shaky over a putt. I don't even know how it dropped. I don't even know how I made contact with the putter, but it did. So that was definitely the most pressure I've ever felt in my entire life.
That's awesome. PGA National, it is a tough course. You had mentioned the bear trap, like that is a difficult little stretch there. It gets a lot of
Yeah.
really great golfers in a lot of trouble.
And the hardest part was we didn't even have a practice round. So I was, I think the only one. No, we had 2 freshmen on that team at the time, but I had never seen the course before from the previous year. So I played that tournament blind. I remember bogeying my first 2 holes in the tournament, and then I went and shot 69 that day. So playing it blind might have been a benefit because I didn't know where the trouble was.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't know where it is, it's hard to get in it, right? What was the worst round during your best season? So, like your worst tournament, but you were playing your best golf, and what did you learn from it?
I mean, junior year, I never finished outside of top 10, but I did go to regionals that year. Oh yeah, this is for sure. I went to regionals alone that year just because of my ranking, and I got picked to go to Michigan State's home course. It's East Lansing something country club. I don't know. I only had 2 birdies in 3 days, and this was the year I was playing at my peak. Something about that course, it did not fit my eye, it didn't fit my shot shape or anything. Bent grass with like bluegrass rough, so super tight, super difficult. And my sister played in that one too because she played at Georgia at the time. And we both finished like last place, but it didn't shake me up. It was kind of funny that my sister and I both were there and we finished the same. But that was definitely not the best tournament. What I learned from it was, I mean, everybody's gonna have a bad round or a bad tournament. I mean, like Adam said in your podcast, I listened to it. Like every pro's stroke differential is like 16 apart. And that was just one of the tournaments where I wasn't performing at best. So I just made sure I didn't dwell on it. And that's what I learned.
That's awesome. And thanks for listening to that, by the way. That means a lot to us. You had mentioned your sister played at the University of Georgia?
Yes. And then Indiana for her 5th year.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Was she better than you?
She was for a while, and then we swapped, and I got better than her. But now we're kind of at an even playing field. We played in a match play before she left back to work. She works at James Madison. She's an assistant coach there for the women's team. But we
Okay.
went
Okay.
down to the University of Georgia and had this grueling match play, and I did win it on the last hole with a birdie. So I say right now we're probably even.
Okay, that's awesome. I love that. But that golf just runs in the family. Your parents were good golfers. They made
Mhm.
two great golfers. That's awesome. Be honest. Were you a range rat, a short game grinder, or a show up and play type player?
Definitely a show up and play, because my whole life and even today, like, my availability to a practice facility does not exist. So, and then living on the back of a golf course when I was younger, I mean, all you did was play because the range was like 3 miles away. I couldn't drive when I was a kid. But even now, like, I'm one to just, we call it trunk slamming. You just take your clubs out of your trunk and go to the first tee and start playing. And I mean, that's where you get really creative. That's where you get better. Of course, I hit the range every so often, but that's so boring. I mean, it's like a basketball court, it's the
Mhm.
same thing every time, whereas the course is different every day. So I love playing on the course.
Love that. Glad that you gave me that pass because now I can explain why I'm not going to the range. Because Catie Craig didn't damn go to the range and she was a
That's
damn
right.
conference champ or whatever. I don't need to go to the range. I ain't even trying to be a conference champ. I'm just trying to shoot 79, you know?
Yeah.
When did the idea of going pro become real instead of a dream?
I don't even know if it was a dream until after my junior year when I realized, okay, I have a shot. Because when it comes to professional golf, you have to be super realistic on it. Because if you look at the percent of people that make it to D1 golf, it's tiny. And then you look at the people on like mini tours, it's even smaller. Then you look at Epson, it's even smaller. And then LPGA, it's even smaller. So you're like shrinking the bubble of golfers in the world. And then, of course, with like pay, you have to be realistic. Like, can I make a living off of it? And for a while, I was like, no, like, there's no way I could ever do it. Until after my junior year. My junior year in like February, I told my parents, like, I'm interested in going to Q school during my senior year, but I did not tell a soul because I didn't want anybody to like hold a standard or like judge me for my decision or whatever. So I kept a secret until like August, or no, July, and Q school was in August. And so I gave it a shot. We flew out to California, and it was a 7 straight days of tournament. So you play 3 practice rounds on 3 different courses, and then you play 4 rounds on 3 different courses, just in 120-degree weather, brutal. So I went through all of that. But yeah, I'd say like junior year is when I decided, okay, pro's definitely an option, because you have to base it off of your scoring average. So I would go on like Epson Tour and see what all their scoring average is and kind of compare it to mine. And I was like, could I compete with these people? And I didn't say yes until I saw my scoring average be around where theirs were.
Was there a moment where you almost didn't go pro?
Like I said, I just kept it realistic. So for like the first 2 years of college, didn't have much of an idea. I was really planning on just going to get my master's in landscape architecture. I was so set on that. And even after I signed up for Q school, I was like, oh, I'll still go to get my master's. Like, wait a second. I can't. If I'm going to play golf, it's like 100 or nothing. So I think just before that, I was like, no. After junior year, I was like, yeah, we can try.
What was your first professional event? Actually, was it comparable to college?
So my first professional event was in June of 2025. So I got full Epson status going through Q school. I could have gone to stage 3 and just got my LPGA that way, but 1, I would have had dropped out of college, and 2, it's not a guarantee. It'd stay like top 25. I was like, I'm not taking that risk. So I got full status graduating out of college. So I started Epson Tour halfway through. So my first event was in June. up in Battle Creek, Michigan, and it was absolutely nothing like college. Oh my gosh, I can't believe the difference. I thought like this would be like a smooth transition, no big deal. No, they stick us at like 6,800 yards. The pins are like 3 paces from the right, 3 paces from the back with like traps, water, slopes, whatever you want, all right by the pin. And then the conditions are tough. The greens are rolling a 14, whereas in college we're rolling like 11 max. You're playing against the top 100 and what's the field? 144 in the entire world. So you have like people from like Japan or Finland, like anywhere and everywhere. So just trying to get your just thrown back into individual golf. No more team golf. So that was a big transition again because it's been 4 years since I was playing alone all the time. And then you get there and there's like sponsors everywhere. They have like sun cruisers. They have alcoholic beverages on the range. They have like Red Bull came. So they had these Red Bull people walking around. They had music blaring for the pro-ams, and then you have to volunteer with kids and the first tee comes. So it's just a lot going on all at once while you're trying to get your rounds in and make your notes and then go play 3 to 4 rounds. And then it gets cut in half from 144 to 69 or 65. Shooting under par isn't good enough. So it was like, oh my gosh, I shot a 75 my first round. I was in like 100 and some odd place. And then the next day I shot 68 and I squeezed in the cut line by 1. I was like, I mean, these scores I was shooting in college, I'd get a top 10. Now I'm on the back of the bus taking 60th place shooting these scores. So it was a huge transition.
Do you think is professional golf more mentally exhausting or physically exhausting?
I mean, it's always both. They can't be separated. I would say the physical was very tolling because the way that it worked, it was 4 weeks on, 1 week off. You take your Monday off so you wouldn't play, but on that Monday, you're driving to the next location or even flying to the next location. So, for example, I went from Oregon to Kansas from one tournament to the next, right after another. But like the first 4 tournaments, it was Michigan, 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 and then Indiana. So, I mean, we just drove around. But you get no days off because you have to go play your practice round in a certain time frame. It's like first come, first serve, which I thought was weird. So you'd race to the tee at 7:30 in the morning, or else you're sitting on the tee for an hour or two waiting to get in line because they have pro-ams. So pro-ams are like the biggest thing. It's what supports the tournament. So you have to schedule your time around when those are going off. And if you're not in the pro-am, then you might only be allowed to play 9 holes on like Monday or Tuesday. And then you're also trying to get food in. You're trying to pay for a hotel, doing volunteering. You have like mandatory volunteering. And then you have to go to bed, make your notes, go to PT, work out. It was so much. And then for 4 weeks, by the 4th week, you're exhausted and you get 1 week off. And during that 1 week, well, if you didn't play good, then you have to practice more or go get a lesson. So it was a lot. I would say probably physical because my back had never hurt so much. And every day we were walking 6 miles, like you can't eat enough food to keep weight on you. I mean, you lost a lot of weight. It's a good weight loss program if you need that. My mom was my caddy. She was like walking 6 miles. She's like, this is great. So it's a lot physically.
What was the talent difference between college and the professional? Like, was it extraordinarily different?
Absolutely. It was like if you stuck a bunch of like Stanford players in one tournament times like 15, that's who you're competing against. So you have no room to err. And I mean, of course, there was tournaments where the cut was like 4 over, but it was because of the course condition. But then there's others where the cut was 1 under. And I mean, 1 under in college gets you a win. You can win with a 1 under. I won being over par once. I mean, here I am shooting 1 under and missing the cut. It's like, oh my gosh, like how much more work do I need to put in to pass this threshold of shooting like 10 under? I mean, that time I shot 63, 67, my career record, that wouldn't even win a tournament on Epson. That could get you maybe top 10 at some events. And it was just a really big reality check of I have to shoot my record pretty much every single week on top of like the physical and mental like toll. It's like, how do you do it? So I was just really honestly amazed by the level of play. I was, like, fangirling these people. I'm like, "These people are insane," and to think they're not even on LPGA. So then you think about the LPGA players, you're like, "Golly, it's actually insane." I still can't believe it.
We were talking on our latest episode with a Corn Ferry Tour caddy, and he was talking
Mhm.
about the amount of talent that's on the Corn Ferry, and I'm
Mhm.
sure
Oh,
it's the
yeah.
same way on the women's side. Like it, it's almost more difficult. He was saying to win on these, semi-pro, if you will, circuits,
Mhm.
right under the LPGA, right under the PGA. It's almost harder to win there than it is on tour.
I know, right? Isn't that crazy how that works? That doesn't make sense to me, but it happened. That's what I noticed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, with Corn Ferry, they're shooting like 25 under. Their level is even crazier.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I I know it comes from tee shot accuracy and then their short game and putts, like putts per round. Like if your stroke average on a par 5 wasn't 4, like you're not even close to being good enough. Like had to be under par on par 5s. Par 3s is where everybody kind of like was the same level, like slightly over par, but it was really just those 125-yard approach shots and in. I mean, you had a birdie every time.
Absolutely. So I know that you're designing courses, and we're going to talk about that a little bit next. But are you still playing on tour, or have you been competing? Are you, if you're not, are you going to? What's your plan with that, or tell us what's going on with the Epson tour side of things?
Yeah, so I played in 10 events over the summer and I only made 4 cuts. So my ranking was not good enough to get status for next year. So I went back to Q school and they changed how Q school worked this year. So instead of 4 rounds, it's only 3 rounds and there's 3 locations instead of everybody in California, which I don't know, I haven't really thought enough about, or I guess there's not enough data on which way is better. But 3 locations is pretty different because what if it's super stacked in one location whereas the other one's not as hard? But I made the first cut and then I missed the second cut of school stage 1 and the cut was 5 under. I did not get it. So I lost all my status on the Epson tour, sadly. So if I wanted to work my way back up, I'd have to play on mini tours. So things like Women's All Pro Tour or an XXT Cactus Tour, stuff like that. And just realistically, honestly, on a financial standpoint, it's really hard. Some entry fees are $800 and the winner only makes 5 grand. And even at those tournaments, the winner's shooting 12, 13 under. So I was just really real about it. I kept emotions out of it. And I was like, is this something I really want to do every year for the rest of my life? Like 4 weeks on, 1 week off for 20 weeks straight or however long. It goes from March to October. That's longer than 20 weeks. What am I saying? It's months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not even guaranteed a paycheck. And
Yeah.
you're blowing through money on every single thing. I mean, air travel, food, hotel, entry fees, everything. So just really real about it with me and my parents and some good mentors. And I realized just going into the job world is better. And it's always been my dream to do golf course design. I think it was kind of like an answer to me. Passion is golf course design. And I don't think I'm a big enough competitor to make it in to LPGA. And, there might be another world where if I'd stuck through it, I could have gone, but it could have taken years and years and years. And then at that point, you don't even know. I mean, there's people I was playing against on Epson who are 37 years old and they're still trying. I'm like, am I going to be 37 years old trying for this still? So my, like, desire is just to play in, like, state opens, or if there's any pro events nearby, I'm definitely gonna play in it, like US Open qualifiers and all that. So it's gonna be more to my leisure and not for my paycheck anymore, which is kind of a relief. I play at my own
Mhm.
expense now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And hats off to you for, well, first of all, sorry that you missed the cut. I would love
Hey.
to be able to talk to you about, you going out and trying to win this year. But I love the humbleness and I love that you're able to humble yourself enough to understand and make those decisions, because I think a lot of people don't. And they're really in a bind because they put themselves in debt and things like that. So very, very smart by you. Hats off to you for that. But at the same time, I'm sure it was a struggle. But it's very cool that you're still in the golf world and doing something in golf, being a great golfer like you are,
Absolutely.
either way. tour status or not, you're still an amazing, amazing golfer. So to still be in the game, that's really cool. And then I just wanted to mention, like you had brought up the financial side of it. It really is
Mhm.
expensive to chase your dream in golf or in other sports. I see a lot of the creators like James Nicholas, I think his name is. He plays on the Corn Ferry Tour, won a couple weeks ago, and he does
Yeah.
like the vlogs where he shows how much money he spends. And if he don't win, you know, it's $5,000-$10,000 a week almost sometimes, depending on where they're playing,
Yeah.
to be able to compete. So, and that's with status. That's not having to pay entry fees, by the way, like you had mentioned you'd have had to do. So, totally understand that. Let's talk a little bit about course design. Tell me how, I know you kind of went to college for it. Was it always the plan to design golf courses, or how did you get involved in golf course design?
Yes, it's been like my only thing I could ever imagine me doing in my entire life. And I think it was around third grade is when it started. And it was really, I've been a big artist my whole life. I've loved to draw. And ever since I was a kid, I'd had sketchbooks and sketchbooks of just golf courses. I would draw everything from like the parking lot to the putting green to like the housing developments to like the courses itself, and I'd name the tee colors and I'd name the course and I'd go on Google Earth and find like pieces of property to put it on. I'd make like academies, just short courses, reversible courses, just everything. So when I realized in high school I could make a career out of it, I started researching like what do I need to major in. So I was thinking things like turf grass management, and then I initially started with horticulture and then also joined into soil agronomy because I realized that was super important. And then that desire of getting my landscape architecture degree. Luckily, don't have to do that because my job I'm in now, I joke around with my boss that he is my grad school. So it's just been a lifelong thing.
That's awesome. That's really cool. A dream as a kid coming to life. Love to hear that. What's something that an average golfer like myself would completely misunderstand or not know about a golf course design?
I think it is course management. I think a lot of amateur golfers just grab driver and blast it on the tee, regardless of how the hole flows or what obstacles are out there. They just want to hit their driver and they want to hit it far. So in golf design, everything isn't, well, if it's a good golf course, everything that is out there is intentional. Every hill, every slope, every kicker slope, every water hazard, every diagonal or elevation. I mean, there's a reason. So just being super aware of kind of asking yourself, like, why did the architect do this is how you can really play better golf. And it's more interesting.
What does your day-to-day work actually look like?
Every day is different, really, which is why I love it so much. It's like playing golf. Every day is different. But recently, it's been a lot of conceptual sketches and paintings. So I can actually show y'all. This is like a concept I'll do. So I'll
That is
paint
beautiful.
what my boss has designed.
That is awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. It's actually a restoration. So it's a Donna Ross. So that one we're kind of just putting back to what it originally looked like. But I do a lot of sketches. I go back and forth with my boss on like how to draw it and everything he wants in it. And then I colorize it with watercolors. And a couple weeks ago, every single day I was on AutoCAD, which is a digital software for
Mhm.
design, typically architecture, and you can design golf courses on there. And then other days, my favorite ones are when I have to travel. So I travel a lot. I go to job sites or I go to future courses. We do renovation work, but we do have a project coming up that's going to be brand new. It's going to be like somewhat of a short course. But job site visits are my favorite. So that's like the problem solving where I just go out there and I walk the course and I'm just looking behind the tees, behind the greens, left, right, up, down, everywhere, where we can adjust, where we can add, where we can subtract. Like tree removal, like drainage, what needs to be done to make this better course. I do historical analyses, whatever the right word is. So I go on to newspapers and historical aerials and I make a bunch of data and information on what I can get about a certain golf course if we're restoring it, like trying to see aerials from 1950 and what the course looked like. And then you measure the trap sizes from then until what it looks like today. And then you're also kind of working with like superintendents and, what problems are you having at this course? Is it drainage? Is it mowing? Is it the ability to maintain it, the ease of it, shading lines or fairway lines. And then when we're constructing, so I work for Chris Spence. He's a design build. So on top of designing, he also builds the course. So he has shapers who work for him. And sometimes we subcontract out for some locations because we can't have our team at every course that we're doing all at once. But I'll go out and on the ones where we have subcontractors, I'll kind of supervise and I'll paint the bunker lines. So they basically dig a hole out where they want the bunker, and then I get spray paint and I spray the horizon or the line, the edge of where the bunker is going to be. And then I sit there and I watch them build it, and it's crazy to see how fast they can build it and edge it. And then I always feel bad. I'll like go up and like, oh, can you like adjust it here or there? And my boss is like, just tell them they're not going to be mad if they have to redo their work. It's okay. And then you're also looking at horizon lines and trying to tie in everything to make it look super natural and just make sense. Make sure there's no like abrupt edges or loafs, as we call it, on the edge of bunkers, just making sure everything looks perfect. It's a lot. And there's so much more I'm going to learn. I've just started in October and I leave Tuesday for a few days. We have a project down in Wilmington. It's called Pine Valley. So I'm going to do some staking. So I go on the front nine and I set where the new tee boxes are going to be, where the center of the fairway is going to be, and then where the green's going to be. And then you make grading plans and contour plans and a bunch of plans. And then we even build lakes. So I've been able to witness all that. I haven't gotten on an excavator yet. I don't know if I will. It's a man's
You
job.
should do it. It's fun and it's easy. It's a lot easier than you think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I told my boss, I was like, if I try to shape a green or float a green, as they call it, oh my gosh, it would look terrible. I'm just amazed by our workers, how they can use such a mechanical like item and make super smooth things that looks like nature created it. So it's really, really cool.
That is awesome, though. What makes a golf hole memorable instead of just difficult?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think the best example I can think of that is I played Bel Air Country Club in Beverly Hills, and it wasn't the most difficult course, but it was super memorable because it was built in the canyon, so you could actually aim away from the pin, and it would roll down the canyon on the grass and go to the hole. So I think things of a course where aiming away from the hole actually gets you a better shot is what makes things super memorable. I love stuff like that. Even at like Pinehurst #2, if you walking a course is what makes the course memorable to me, because you gotta feel the contours, you gotta feel the slopes and everything about it. And like going out on Pinehurst #2, you can see around the green these old hills and contours that were meant for like ground game before everybody's hitting in the air. So I think that's what makes a course very memorable. Some things you don't really notice until you play it a few times, and just the awareness of what's around you rather than the difficulty. Difficult holes aren't always fun because it always involves water. Not a big fan of water in golf courses.
Me either. Every time
I was
I
gonna say
see
me
it,
either.
I go in it.
Water's overrated.
Yeah. If you could change one design trend in modern golf, what would it be?
Oh, gosh, modern
No
golf
lakes.
is
Yeah, I was
wide
gonna say no.
variety right now. Yeah, I would say no. I think the trend of destination golf, this is very broad of me to say instead of like a certain like feature, but I think destination golf is becoming too trendy. I just don't think it's realistic for the average golfer to pick up everything, take like 4 days PTO, fly their clubs to the middle of like, I don't know, Montana, and go play a course for $600. I'm a
Mhm.
big fan of that local Mooney or something that needs help, and you could really update it and something for the community where, kids can go play it every day after school, or something that's realistic in golf. So I would say in modern golf, it makes sense because the economics these days, like, it's hard to get the funds to update
Mhm.
public courses. That's why private is more popular, because you have like private equity and all that. But in a perfect world, I think that's where it needs to be helped out a bit on those public courses.
Love that.
Are most golfers battling the golf course or themselves?
I think it's themselves. People these days are so obsessed with their swing, and that's due to social media. If you see the YouTube or the Golf Digest quick fixes, and everybody's so obsessed with how can I swing like Tiger? Can I swing like Rory? Whereas I think it'd be more beneficial to just swing your swing you got, work on it to your best ability, because the course doesn't care if you're a negative handicap or a new golfer. So I'd say it's your own person. It's your own fault.
Let's talk a little bit about equipment. I know that I seen on your Instagram that you're with TaylorMade Golf. Tell me,
Yes.
I'm assuming you're still with TaylorMade, and then how did that relationship start?
It started because my swing coach is with TaylorMade, and he kind of once you get a certain world ranking in amateurs, so I think once I got inside the top 300 or so, they were like, yeah, we'll start. They basically treat you like LPGA. I think it's like class A. So they let you get fit. They give you free clubs, free balls, whatever you need, free bag, everything. So they gave me a staff bag or a stand bag during my Epson tour days, which is really cool. And anytime if you need a new grip, call them up and they mail it to you wherever, which is really cool. Yeah, it was just through my coach. So I played. I have 35s in my woods. I'm trying out the 40, just why not? It's fun to try
I've seen
things.
that.
And then I have the P790s, and then what putter do I have? A spider putter. Who doesn't have a spider putter?
Yeah.
Right. I like that. Yeah, I swing all TaylorMade. I've got the older RSI 1 irons, and then I have the Sim 2 woods and a driver.
Oh yeah. Those are good. I used to play that.
Yeah. How different is a fit for a professional golfer or a high level college golfer compared to somebody like me and Craig going to Golf Galaxy or the PGA store? How much more in depth do they get with golfers like you when you go for a fit than they would with a golfer like me?
Fittings are really fun to go to, and their knowledge. So, like, their training they have to get in to be a TaylorMade. So, I'd go to the TaylorMade Kingdom down in Macon, Georgia.
Lucky.
And I don't know what it takes to be. I know it's fun. You get on a TrackMan, they give you like free water, whatever. You feel like a celebrity there. And their knowledge, my fitter's Chris, he is like a computer in his head, and he knows like every gram of hot melt and this certain area of my driver head that would need to be added for me to get this adequate loft. Or I'm not really into all the techie part of golf. So when I go there, I'm like, stupid. I have no idea what he's talking about. So I just trust him. But I have been learning more about it, and I'm just amazed by how much he knows, like your loft and launch and your AOA. And according to your swing, you need this shaft. And I'm like, how do y'all know that? And they just do little tweaks, and I'd be there for like 3 hours, but they basically know what you need after 45 minutes. And it's really incredible compared to like Golf Galaxy. I mean, it's probably just somebody who knows a little bit about golf. But I would definitely suggest if you have a somewhat like consistent swing, go get a fitting, because a lot of times it's the clubs, not your swing. And you have to be careful to not always blame the clubs, but there does come a time when it's the clubs that need to be fixed.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. Fittings are very important if you can do them. I've went and got fit into the clubs that I have. I haven't went for like a full fitting and found the clubs for me. I've just went and got like the clubs that I have adjusted for my swing, but it does make a difference. I've seen a lot of people that have done it. If you had to give the average golfer, like if they can only afford to go get one club fitted, like a driver, wedges, irons, or a putter, what would you say would be the most important one to start with?
I would have to say irons, only because it makes up the most of your bag. I know irons aren't the most important or most hit club in your bag, but when it comes to wedges, every year after year they come out with a new wedge. I mean, the difference from one year to another is not that different. The difference between driver from year to year is not that different. Putters, I mean, come on, you can putt with anything, right? You can putt with a hockey stick. What did Happy Gilmore do? So I would say irons for sure, just because a lot of your confidence comes from your ball striking with it. And then maybe I would say shaft and driver. I think driver head isn't too important, but definitely the shaft.
Yeah.
Because before I got my fitting, for Wood's example, I was in regular shafts for years and years and years. I'm like, I hook these all the time. I don't know what's going on. And my fitter was like, you need stiff shafts. I'm like, oh, I didn't have stiff shafts in here? Shafts are very important, sometimes more than the head.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, you can take a guy like Craig. I mean, he's going to struggle if he's got to hit my driver because I use a regular flex shaft where he probably uses like a stiff or an extra stiff. If I'm hitting his, I've got to give it everything I've got. I'm going to pull every muscle I got, trying to hit a straight ball with a driver, like with his driver. So it totally makes sense. We do this with every guest, Catie. It's called Rapid Fire from the Bunker. Here we go. So I'm just going to read a series of questions here. Just give me the quick answer. We'll run through them real quick. Start with the hardest one. Favorite course that you've ever played?
I knew you were going to say this. I don't want to be too cliche and say Augusta National, but
Because you did
I'll
play
say
there,
Bel
though.
Air.
You did play there, right?
I
Okay.
did. I even cut a cup out there on hole 2.
It's awesome.
Nice.
I'd say Bel Air Country Club out in California. Fabulous.
That's awesome. Dream course that you haven't played?
I've always said Sleepy Hollow up in New York. I've always wanted to play there.
That's awesome. Match play or stroke play?
Match play, 100%.
Morning or afternoon tee time?
Morning. I can't play in the morning anymore, but I love a good morning tee.
Are you a walker now or a ride? Are you still a walker or are you a rider now?
I'm a walker. Even though I live in the mountains, I still walk the front 9. It's a workout.
Like that. Least favorite club?
Least favorite club, a 6-iron.
I can agree with that. Favorite club in the bag?
7-wood. Easy.
Ooh, I've been wanting one of those. I've got a 5-wood now. I want a 7-wood.
They're life-changing. Oh my gosh.
I've heard that. One thing amateurs should stop doing immediately.
Being pressured by their parents if they're juniors, but like adult amateurs, comparing yourself to others.
Love that. Best golf advice that you've received?
Fix that thing between your ears. Get that mentality fixed quick.
Love that. This'll be the last one to wrap it up, but this is kind of more of a long-winded, I guess. If you had to shoot even par tomorrow using only one strength, that being driver, irons, wedges, putting, which one would you choose?
I'm a pretty good fairway finder.
Let's go. I love that. What goals are next for you with playing and your career?
Goals for playing would be, of course, to make the U.S. Open. I mean, who wouldn't? I can't this year, though. My sister's actually getting married during the U.S. Open, so we gotta wait for next year. And then for career, I mean, a long goal, probably when I'm like much, much, much older, would have like build my own golf course. So that's the dream.
Love that.
But I'm living the dream right now.
I heard that.
What advice would you give junior golfers chasing college golf?
Just like good old Adam says, attitude and effort. It's so important. It's probably the best wisdom he's ever given.
Love that. What's something you wish you would have understood earlier in your career?
I mean, again, mental game, but I think variety and practice, like how to be super, super creative on the golf course. I learned that in college. I wish I learned it earlier. I think I would have enjoyed golf as a junior a little more if I knew all the different ways you can practice.
Love that. Tell me real quick, what was the best part and how was the day that you got to play Augusta National?
Best part, I have to say, probably trying to skip it over the water on 16. That just because I've always seen it. I've always wanted to do it. I even have it on video. So that was really cool. I even picked up a turtle on that hole, which is also really cool.
That's awesome. I'm sure that was an amazing experience, right? Now, did you play there just for fun or was it in a tournament?
So I got into the Augusta National Women's Amateur. So the way that tournament works, you play 2 rounds at Champions Retreat. And then if you make the cut, you play your final round at Augusta National. I did not make the cut, but they guaranteed everybody to play in a practice round at Augusta. So I picked the first tee time at 8 a.m. And before I teed off, that's when I went to hole 2 and I got to meet like the superintendent and cut the cup. And then I got to play hole 2 with my hole I cut, which is pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
And then we got to play the par 3 course, which, hot take, it was all right. It was cool, but it's not like the greatest par 3 course I've ever played. But the course itself, Augusta, is insane. We played the members tees. So the front 9 is so much harder than the back. I didn't play my best on the front 9. Hole 6 really got me. But the contours of those greens don't compare to what you see on TV. Like every time they say that, I mean it, like, I couldn't believe it. And then the elevation changes, I couldn't believe it
Mhm.
either. How high you are on hole 15 on that approach hitting down to that green, it's crazy.
That is super cool that you got to play there, though. That's absolutely awesome. Next time you're back up here, if you haven't yet, you should check out the par 3 course at, Park Mammoth. It's pretty fun.
I know, they actually sponsored me during my Epson tour journey, and, the par 3 course wasn't done the last time I've been up there, so I definitely will. I love Park Mammoth, it's such a great
Yeah,
course. Super
it
fun.
is. Catie, it's been an amazing, amazing time getting to know you. We appreciate you so much for doing this. Thanks so much for coming on, and I can't wait to listen back to this and really get to enjoy your whole story because it's
Mhm.
really amazing. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, not a
Thank you, I've
problem.
Thanks.
had such a great
Appreciate you.
time.
And guys, this was episode 17 of From the Bunker. We'll see you again next Tuesday at 7 a.m. Make sure you go check out Catie. I'll have all of her info down in the bio wherever you're getting this podcast, and we will see y'all next week. Peace.